absolutely. Free food, bro. Free food. It's at Arizona Charlie's.
Stick around, right?
No. I'll go home first, and then I'll go down there.
You're gonna meet Blake.
Start till 3.
You're finally gonna meet Blake. He says you can.
That's awesome. I keep touching him.
Well, what's up, everybody? Good to be back after a nice holiday weekend on a Tuesday. And we have a lot to talk about today. Yes. A lot took place over the weekend. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, normally we have Chris Wynn in studio on a Monday. But today happens to be Tuesday. So since we weren't here yesterday, Chris Wynn has strolled into the studio and joined us on Tuesday. Chris, you got a little tan. I did not. I'm still very pasty white. But how was your weekend? I would imagine a little Cape Anquino, a little drinking, a little bit of everything.
He's nailing it right on the spot. Numchuck and PTL Nation out there. Yeah, it was a holiday weekend extended. Had a chance to work a little bit. Had a chance to actually cover some sporting events, and then had a chance to kind of a little bit out by the pool. So that's where the little tan action comes in.
I like it.
It was a kind of a textbook Labor Day Norman Rockwell weekend without question.
Sure.
Unfortunately, we did have some losses in the entertainment world that we're going to be talking about, and of course, yes, it is a holiday weekend. But the world goes on, right, Brian Shapiro? And that means that we're going to have a lot of topics to discuss on a Tuesday instead of a Monday.
So we're going to have some big guests this week. We're expected to have Chris Christie join us this week. We had Vivek Ramaswamy on last week, Larry Elder the following week. It's interesting because Marianne Williamson, who's running for president, her people have dodged me. It's very strange too, because I believe she's a Democrat, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, she is a Democrat, yeah. Did she actually declare that she's running? Because there's no real primary against President Biden.
I don't know, but listen to what these idiots that work for her campaign, and by the way, they're idiots that work for her campaign. Okay, I email them, and I guess she has some sort of event which I'm not going to promote on this show. But they send me text messages. These are her communications people. They're like, "Hey, can you give her event a shout out?" And my response was, first of all, I don't do shout outs on this show. Hey, shout out to, idiots do that. I don't do that. But I said in a nice way, hey, I'd love to have her in studio, or worst case scenario, happy to have her on the phone, happy to promote her event. Give me 10 or 15 minutes. Let me talk to her. We just want a shout out. And I responded, I said, are you guys 10 years old? She's in town. I can't imagine she has 30 people that are asking her for an interview.
Wait a minute, time out. You just explained to me what you said to them, and then their response after what you just described to me was just give her a shout out. So if they acted like they didn't hear what you said, basically.
Well, they kind of ignored it, and then I said,
that's kind of ridiculous,
back. Right? That's why
these people aren't real media relations people,
I
they don't have any idea how to deal with it.
That's why I'm bringing it up. And then I responded back, not rudely, but I said, I don't do shout outs. This isn't like a morning show music station. She's running for president. I do a political show.
Right.
I'm asking her to come on. Oh, well, her schedule is very busy. And I said to myself, you're telling me a woman who won't even get 5,000 votes maybe is too busy to do 10 minutes, but yet I can get, the number
Vivek
3.
Vivek Ramaswamy.
Yeah.
You can get
and Chris Christie this week.
Yeah, you can get a number of people that are significantly more noticeable than Marianne Williamson.
So basically, in a nutshell, I said you could take your shout out and shove it up your ass. Nobody's going to show up. Have a nice day.
Although, by the way, we just talked about them at the top of the show for about 3-4 minutes.
I did.
So,
well,
she's getting
nobody's going to vote
attention
for her
on your show.
Nobody's going to vote for her anyway. So anyway,
she's not even running. Right now.
Before we get to politics and Truth Social, how it almost went down under today. We'll talk a little bit, but what I mean by that is not that it went to Australia. We'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. The First Lady does have COVID. I do want to get to that first, but before we get to the political stuff and Dr. Jill Biden, I do want to talk about some sad stories of some people in the music industry that we lost. And let me talk about the biggest name, all due respect to Smash Mouth. But I do want to talk first about Jimmy Buffett.
Right.
Of course, Jimmy Buffett has been around for decades and decades. One of the most popular, I think it's fair to say, certainly in this country, maybe the world. Jimmy Buffett, known worldwide for his music, bringing people together. It's fun music. And I wasn't a huge Jimmy Buffett fan. I did see one of his shows 15 years ago, and it was good. It was good. It was fun. Fun, laid-back music. Tons of radio #1 hits. And I know, Chris, you are a bigger fan
than maybe I am, but he died of skin cancer, and a disease that a lot of people suffer from. What are your thoughts?
Well, of course, I have a personal connection to this, having worked for him technically at his restaurant in Orlando, Florida. At the time, he had just minimal amounts of restaurants. Of course, obviously, Jimmy Buffett, well known as an icon in the music industry, as an artist, but also a very shrewd businessman. He's someone who promoted the Margaritaville brand, I guess we'll call it. Myself, my friend Mark Nilsson, and a lot of others here in Vegas. I mean, we came to Vegas because they opened up the Margaritaville out here in Vegas on the Las Vegas Strip. So there's a lot of kind of tentacles to this when it comes to Jimmy Buffett. But as an artist, without question, as you pointed out, one of the icons in American history when it comes to yacht rock, right? Easy listening music. Jimmy Buffett, without question, has carved out his own monstrous niche when it comes to the American music industry and the American pop culture as a whole. So, yeah, absolutely a big-time loss for the music industry. And, of course, Parrot Heads all over the world, Brian Shapiro. Parrot Heads is the name of the fan club that was established, and it's a informal name for all of the big time Jimmy Buffett fans out there. So rest in peace, sir, Mr. Jimmy Buffett. Your music though is going to live on forever.
Numchuck picking the right song too. That's the song that I would have picked. So a good one there. He's got plenty of them. So thoughts and prayers to his family and obviously fans around the world paying tribute to him, and rightfully so. Another guy that we lost, somebody that I was never a huge Smash Mouth fan. They have some good songs. I've seen them in concert multiple times, not because I wanted to see them, but because they were on tour with other bands that I liked.
They were good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're good.
And the lead singer of that band is Steve Harwell. I will tell you that he passed away, by the way, over the weekend. His liver just
liver failure.
We'll talk about why, but I did an interview with him. It was one of my first interviews in radio, like in-person interview with a big lead singer of a big band. And at one point, Smathdosh was arguably one of the most popular bands around in this country. I mean, they had some huge hits in the 90s.
They were huge in the late 90s, yeah. Big time.
So I was working at it was one of my first jobs. I was working at a kind of like a station like this, small FM AM station. And the station next to my station was a huge, like, pop station. So they had Steve Harwell, the lead singer, in, and I was doing a show there, and I said, hey, is there any chance we could get Steve for 10 minutes? His people were very nice. He comes in, and the first thing he says to me before we go on the air is, I got to do 2 of these mother effers. He doesn't shake my hand. He doesn't say hello. How are you? That's how he introduces himself to me. So right off the bat, I'm like, okay, this guy's a complete jerk. He smelled of alcohol. Right. He smelled, period. And he comes in, and he's just rude, man. I'm trying to promote his new album and the show that they were doing that night, and he just wanted no part of it. Now, listen, the guy's had a really tough life. I understand this. His 6-month-old daughter died of cancer. I can't imagine how painful that was. And I would also, I'm not a therapist, but I think you would agree with me. A lot of people, not all, but a lot of people drink to hide pain. Same thing with drugs and a lot of other things. He's had a really tough life, and I sympathize with him there, but he wasn't very nice to me. And I've seen him on stage a few times, and he was just out there. He couldn't even sing his songs. He was so drunk. This was a man who suffered from substance abuse most of his life, and that's why he died. Let's call it for what it is. This wasn't a Jimmy Buffett situation where you catch this horrible disease, cancer, skin cancer. My thoughts and prayers go out to Steve Harwell and his family, but he did it to himself. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. And look, as far as his impact, I mean, it was a band that was popular back in the late 90s, early 2000s. They had a handful of hits. And look, the description coming from his family, obviously after he passes away, they're going to kind of focus on the positive, not the negative, which
no question.
But saying that, so regurgitating what they said, I mean, he was a guy that liked to have a good time, right? Yeah. You and I know, you're sitting across from one right now that likes to have a good time. And occasionally has a couple cocktails. That wasn't the case with Steve. Steve was a guy that went balls to the wall, hardcore, alcoholic, essentially, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist or a doctor to figure out that when you pass away from liver failure at 56 years old, it's because you are someone who consumed way too much alcohol. It's as simple as that. So some people's bodies can deal with that, right? My grandmother, God rest her soul, right? She lived till she was 80 plus years old, had a number of cocktails.
Can I ask you a question?
Certain people's bodies can respond to that.
Can I ask you a question?
People's bodies can't.
Why
and
is
Steve Harwell 56 years old,
Why is
unfortunately
it-
passed away. Yeah.
I'm sorry about your grandmother, by
Right.
the way, but we're not trying to make a joke about
Right.
losing your grandmother. But why is it that you do the raise the roof sign when you talk about your grandmother's death? That was really weird.
That wasn't a raise the roof. It was.
It was like
It was.
my grandmother's dead.
I
Raise the
wasn't-
roof.
No,
I don't know,
was.
that was
I was
really
kind
weird.
of doing. I wasn't raising the roof. I was
Okay.
kind of pointing to
I'm
the
just
sky
saying,
because my
that was-
grandmother's passed away.
I know, but that was the raise the roof thing. It was like somebody in the
I-
WNBA. did it.
well, you're misinterpreting.
Asia Wilson.
It's a Brian Shapiro misinterpretation,
Okay,
but whatever. Yeah, I was
Little
kind of
strange, that's
I was kind of pointing to the sky, but it wasn't really like
Okay.
I wasn't really thinking about the camera
We'll
situation.
go back to
so
it.
yes,
Okay.
so yes,
We'll do a replay. of that.
56 years old, way too soon
I
to
agree.
pass away. I didn't have any personal experiences with a guy like you did.
Mhm.
A long time. Look, you could have had a bad day you could have been having a bad day that day, or you could you could just be a
But-
jerk. But the point
Yes.
being is, yes, they had an impact. Smash Mouth,
Yes.
and rest in peace to him, and prayers to his family. And
of
one
fun.
more quick note that you didn't point out: Gary Wright too also passed away over the weekend. Dreamweaver, the song I'm sure a lot of people remember from
Dreamweaver.
back in the 70s.
Where are you?
Yes,
Dreamweaver. Yes, I do know this.
yes, and he
Thoughts and
passed away as
prayers
well,
to
too.
him, his
Yeah.
family, and the other two, of course, that we mentioned. Very sad losing some legends in the music business. No
There it is.
question about
Numchuck's
that.
got it. right
Quickly before we get on to the political news, had a fun weekend. Hung out with Nicole Mitchell a little. We went out to the Stratosphere, had a good time over there. Had dinner up there. Went to hang out with. So this was interesting. Before we get to the political news,
Mhm.
I was hanging out with Casey Kasem's daughter, who's unbelievably cool and beautiful. She's actually dating. I didn't know this. DJ Ashba from Guns N' Roses. And we went to the Puddle of Mud concert. I went with my friend Mike Hammer, who does a show downtown. We went to the Puddle of Mud concert because I'm friends with a couple of the band members.
We are. And how is Wes
I
looking?
wouldn't
'Cause
say,
that was-
I wouldn't say
was it-
Chris is a friend of Wes.
Okay,
Scanlon.
okay, all
He's an
right.
acquaintance.
So Brian Shapiro. Okay, so let's make it clear to
Forget-
PTL Vegas out there. Yes, Brian Shapiro is more of a buddy
Yes.
to Wes Scanlon.
I
than
wanna be
am.
clear on
Although
that,
we do
yes.
have a story that is like legendary
Yes.
regarding me
All right.
with Wes. But whatever. So anyway, I was getting to a question on that though because you're talking about
Hurry.
it. And
What was
I
your
was going to
question?
respond. I don't need to hurry. It's a radio show. We're going back and forth. Calm down. All right.
Well, you
So,
interrupted
I'm
me.
asking. Well, yeah, because I was
As
interrupting
usual.
you with a great question because it's a back and
If
forth.
it's a
on
great
radio
question,
show.
okay,
Radio
go ahead.
101. Radio
Great
101.
question.
Back and forth. So, yeah, how did Wes look? How was the show?
Show was okay.
Yeah.
Wes doesn't have it like he used to, but it was okay. And I had a good time hanging out with Wes and playing a little roulette with Wes Scantlin. And I forgot that Casey Kasem's daughter used to do a show here with somebody that I would not be capable of doing a radio show with. And we talked a little bit about that. We have a lot in common with the people we like and the people we don't like in radio in this town. So
I didn't even know Carrie Kasem was a radio personality.
Yeah.
Obviously, her father, a legendary radio host,
Yeah.
but I didn't even know Carrie. She was a radio person.
So it was a fun time, fun weekend. Had a good time, and I had some political conversations. And now let's get to that. Let's get to the political stories. A big story that's out now is when the First Lady contracts COVID. It makes news, and she contracted COVID yesterday, experiencing mild symptoms, according to the White House. And President Joe Biden has tested negative. Obviously, you don't want Joe Biden to get COVID. At the age of 80, you never know what could happen. So that's even though it appears as though he's in pretty good physical condition. Here's what gets me very frustrating about this, about COVID, since it started years back, is that people, Chris, and I think you'll agree with me on this, have made it political. The first thing that you want to say, that any decent human being would say, and I would have said the same thing if Melania got COVID, is that we wish her the best. You know, we hope that she makes a full recovery and hope that she's okay. And a lot of people, obviously, on the right are not doing that. When you hear that Dr. Jill Biden got COVID, there are some people that are not wishing their best. Those people are despicable. And then the other conversations you see, and Chris, we see this all the time on social media, people that have zero medical experience, but think they're doctors and think they're scientists, right, and think they're vaccine experts because they watch Newsmax and do their own research. Now, listen, there have been a lot of mistakes made with COVID. There's around the world, not just in this country, and the world wasn't prepared for this. With that being said, while doctors are not perfect and infectious disease doctors are not perfect, I will listen to their advice, and I will listen to the doctors and nurses and the people that are saving people's lives every day, than some buffoon on social media with no medical expertise or degrees at all saying, I will not comply when it comes to mask wearing or when it comes to vaccines. Somehow they think they're some sort of hero and they're this tough person, like fighting a good fight, or what you did, serve this country. That they align themselves with people like you because they won't comply if somebody tells them to put on a mask or somebody asks them to be vaccinated or whatever the case may be. And I can't have conversations with these kinds of people. And then on social media today, somebody said, oh, well, Dr. Jill Biden's going to be just fine because all the elites are getting different vaccines and boosters than ordinary people. So I responded in a very respectful way, which I shouldn't have been, by the way, because it's a ridiculous statement. And I said, okay, where's your information to prove that? And what vaccine are the elites getting that us normal people are not getting? Now, of course, I got no response, because that's the type of statement you will hear on Newsmax. That's the type of statement you'll hear from somebody like Charlie Kirk or Dinesh D'Souza or people like that have no medical experience at all. They have no idea what they're talking about. These are the people that attack Dr. Fauci 24/7. Have no criticisms, though, for Donald Trump. When Donald Trump said we were going to have 15 cases down to 0 and it's miraculously going to just disappear, or got the vaccine with his wife behind closed doors privately, they won't have any criticism for Donald Trump. But it's all Dr. Fauci. I will not comply. And I got to tell you, man, it's so frustrating, especially somebody like myself who was in the ICU for 2 weeks with COVID. It's so frustrating to hear from people that still think COVID's a hoax, or COVID was a hoax, or COVID is a hoax, whatever the case may be, where we know over 1 million people in this country sadly have died from this virus. Many of those people who died from the virus were those that did not get the vaccine or didn't take the virus seriously. There were some people that did and sadly still passed away. But, you know, when I hear Dr. Jill Biden has it, of course, number one, we want to make sure she's okay. We hope she makes a full recovery. And my advice to everybody out there, don't listen to me. Don't listen to Chris. Listen to your doctor. Don't listen to people on social media. Don't listen to people on Newsmax or Fox News that have no medical experience at all. Don't listen to an eye doctor. Dr. Rand Paul, by the way, who's good at dilating eyes. He knows nothing about infectious disease. Don't do that. Listen to infectious disease doctors and listen to real people with experience. Don't listen to people that have no idea what they're talking about. Chris, I would imagine you would probably agree with me on that.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much cover it right there. And look, I've been consistent on COVID-19 since day one. And as we've been coming out of COVID-19 throughout the last couple of years as well. And I'll just reiterate what you just said kind of on the back end of that rant. Listen to people that know what they're talking about. I'm tired, I'm exhausted, and it's completely pathetic to have to go on social media, to have to walk around town and listen to people who act like they have the smoking gun answer, act like they have information that nobody else is aware. You know what? I found out something that you don't know. I found, and they start spouting off something that ends up being debunked or already has been debunked or something that is completely ridiculous. And you talked about the politicalization of this. It doesn't make any sense. Why would this have anything to do with being Republican or Democrat or independent or a conservative or a liberal? It has absolutely nothing to do with that. Absolutely nothing to do with that at all. And so it is very frustrating. And I can go on. I mean, you just went on a rant. I can go on a rant for 15 minutes too, talking about how people act like they got their medical degree from a Cracker Jack box. People that think they're public health experts. People that you talk about the idea of, okay, so let me tell you something, people. If there is a mask mandate on the horizon that takes place, there's got to be a reason for it. There's going to be people that are public health experts, people that are getting information from doctors or scientists, in which it's for the greater good of American society or humans, period, to have a mask mandate. There's going to be something behind it. It's not going to be, oh, I'm a Democrat, so I feel like we need to have masks again just to be careful because there's some COVID cases coming out. No, that's not what it's going to be. Oh, I'm a middle-of-the-road independent, but I think that, it'd be in my best interest as an independent that we have masks again. That's not how it works, people. And there's a lot of you dumb individuals out there, and there's a lot of you clueless people out there that want to talk about this in the context of politics. And they have this belief, Brian, that it's somehow, because these things happen to pop up, whether it's COVID or anything medically, any kind of pandemic or anything like that, it's Democrats trying to get over on Republicans, or independents trying to get over on Republicans, or just anybody trying to get over on Republicans. It's not. That's not what it's about. That's not what mandates are about. It's not what vaccines are about. I mean, Brian, and I am kind of going on a rant here. I'm just so sick and tired of hearing idiots, and that's what they are. They're idiots going on social media, talking about vaccines and what has happened in the past, and then trying to act like they're Monday morning quarterbacks. And like they have all the answers. They had all the answers. They have all the answers now. They had all the answers back then, but nobody would listen to them. Nobody would listen to me. You know, my dumb ass over here hanging out in Las Vegas talking about how the rest of the country should handle vaccines and COVID. It's such a joke, and it's so frustrating that it's beyond the pale. It really is. It's beyond the pale, Brian Shapiro.
So for people
Get it together, people. Get it together.
So for people out there that don't understand what the vaccines do or don't do, I'll be clear. I'm not an infectious disease expert. However, I listened to the doctors that saved my life. And for those of you that don't understand, and you can ask your own doctor if you don't believe me, because there's nothing political about what I'm about to say. While I don't believe that anybody should be forced to get a vaccine, I've been very clear on that. I will also tell you that, yeah, vaccines don't stop the spread, but what they do, if you're vaccinated, is they give you a much better chance that if you do get COVID, you're not going to have to be hospitalized. You're not going to be in the ICU. You're not going to be put on a ventilator. A 10 times more likely chance of you not getting serious complications from COVID. I can tell you without the shadow of a doubt, the vaccines have saved my parents' life. They probably saved my life. The first time I got COVID, it's before the vaccines were out. I was in the hospital for a couple weeks. I got vaccinated. The second time I got COVID, it was a minor cold, and I was better in 2 days. And I have no doubt, and my doctors and my physicians have no doubt, that the vaccine probably saved me second time going back into the hospital. Nobody today is claiming that the vaccines stop the spread. Nobody out there is claiming today that masks are foolproof. However, some masks work better than others. And just because you wear a mask doesn't mean you're fully protected. Nobody would make that claim. But in general terms, some people will find one study that says masks don't work to the 1,000 studies out there that say masks do help and some masks work better than others. They'll cite one study compared to 100 other studies that were done just in the last month. So again, as I've said from day one, listen to your physician. Listen to your personal doctor. Don't listen to right-wing pundits out there. Don't listen to somebody that claims to be a medical expert with some sort of medical degree making appearances on Fox News so they could sell a book or become more popular on social media. I don't listen to those people. I recommend you don't either. Listen to your own personal doctor. Don't listen to people on social media with no medical degrees telling you what to do. And if you're one of those people that says, my body, my choice, guess what? I agree with you. But be consistent with that. Don't call yourself a pro-lifer or anti-abortioner and you want to tell women what to do with their bodies, but then when it comes to the vaccines, oh no, that's different. No, be consistent on that. I'm consistent. I believe my body, my choice. I've never said on this show or the prior show that I did during COVID when it first started that anybody should be forced to get the vaccine. I've never said that, and I've stood by that. Now, in a perfect world, I wish everybody would, but I don't think you should be forced to.
Well, they're not forced to. Nobody is forced to. You're not. This is the United States of America. There's been no situation whatsoever throughout COVID-19 that you have been forced to get the vaccine. That is factually inaccurate. And by the way, let me use an analogy as to these people who out there think they know more than the experts do, okay? The analogy is this. It's like a bunch of 6-year-olds out there that know nothing about nothing, okay? That's what you people are out there that like to take pot shots at the likes of Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, Dr. Hahn, and others who are actual infectious disease experts. And by the way, Brian Shapiro, you have close proximity to a doctor who is an infectious disease expert. You
Yes, I do.
you know somebody. You have somebody very close to you that is an infectious disease expert. So let me tell you something. All right, the analogy is this: it's like a bunch of you 6-year-olds out there that don't know anything about anything, trying to question a constitutional law professor. Name the university. It doesn't have to be Ivy League, just any university, and trying to question them about the Constitution. Give me a break, okay? You don't know anything. All right, stop with all of you wannabe experts out there. I'm tired of reading about you, reading your garbage on social media. I'm tired of seeing your clips all over the place where you take pot shots at people that actually know what's going on, people that actually have experience, people that are actually experts and in the know when it comes to COVID-19. I'll leave it at that. I'm tired of it.
And again, misinformation. There are
Yeah.
people on social media that are saying things that are absolutely not true. Let me explain to you the difference between being forced to take the shot and being asked to. When you have a job, you don't have to work at that job. It's a privilege to be working where you're working. If somebody at your job says you have to take the vaccine or you can't work here, then guess what? They have the right to do that because it's a private business. Now, I understand for some people that's a really hard concept to understand. So let me say it a little bit more slowly so some of you out there might be able to understand that. You see, if you work at your own business or you work on your own, you don't have to get vaccinated. That's your choice. But if you work for somebody else in this country, another business, a private business, you don't have to work for them. You choose to work for them. And guess what? They chose to hire you. Just like nobody forces them to hire you, nobody forces them to keep you either. They can fire you as long as it's not based on race, skin color, or sexuality, because that would be discrimination. This is a medical decision that a employer is making. Now, you can disagree with that, and it's a free country. You can work for somebody else. That's the difference between being forced to do something and then working for an employer that asked you to do something, or you can work somewhere else. So I just wanted to explain that to people also. Brian, you're the expert now. As I've said,
Who said that?
As
Who
I've
said
said,
you're an expert.
as I've said multiple times on social media.
Oh, okay.
As I've said multiple times on this show, because some people have trouble listening and understanding what I say. So again, I'm going to speak very slowly so some of you can understand. I never said I was a medical expert. In fact, to the contrary, on this show, I've said, don't listen to me and don't listen to Chris. We don't have medical degrees, even though I get my information from actual real infectious disease experts, not Newsmax. What I did say was, and I'll say it again now for the 5th time in the last 30 minutes, I want you to listen to your personal physician, your personal doctor. Don't listen to a pundit on Newsmax or Fox News. I think that's very sound and logical information that I'm giving you. I did not say I was a medical expert. And even though I was in the hospital for 2 weeks and I speak to infectious disease experts, I'm not a medical expert, even though I do think I know a little bit more about COVID than others do, because I actually speak to infectious disease experts every single day. I also can't stand the people out there that say, it's proven that Fauci lied about this, this, and this. That is absurd. There is no evidence to prove that Dr. Fauci intentionally said something that was not true. That is also a lie. There are also people on social media that are saying the experts created it. If you're speaking about some people in China that created it, and I don't know if I'd call them experts, that's one thing. But when you say that medical experts and people with degrees like Dr. Fauci or other people in the medical field here in this country, United States of America, somehow created the virus intentionally, it's despicable and you have no idea what you're talking about. That's proven.
Here's another point, though, too, Brian, that's important to point out when it comes to these people who are defiant, right? These people out there who are, this notion, because there's been cases creeping up, right, of COVID-19 here recently. There has been that discussion of possible mask. The word mandate has been tossed out there, but I don't know if that's something that's going to come about. But the people that are all up in arms about this, right, and trying to already preemptively say, well, we should absolutely defy it. We shouldn't even be going down this road. A lot of those people, their whole rationale and their whole point of view is based on their political viewpoints. That's it. It has nothing to do with whether or not they've gone to a physician and found out whether or not the vaccine could be adverse to their own personal, to their body. all right, to their own medical history or whatever. They could have some type of adverse reaction, right, to the vaccine. That's not why they're being defiant. The only reason a lot of you out there are bitching and moaning and complaining and acting like it's the worst thing in the world. And by the way, the reason a lot of you didn't get vaccinated wasn't because you have some medical history that is problematic with the vaccine. It isn't because there actually is something that it isn't because you could actually die from getting the vaccine. The only reason, Brian Shapiro and Justin Chuck and PTL Nation out there, the only reason these people are defiant is because of politics.
And
that's the only reason.
And
it's laughable. And it is absolutely ridiculous.
And I'm going to open up the phone lines because, again, there are people out there that are saying that I'm lying or you're lying. So here's
you got to bring up reasons why we're lying.
So
why are we lying?
So here's what I do. When somebody makes a claim like that, you have to tell me specifically what we're lying about.
They never do.
And let's have that conversation. Anybody could say somebody's a liar. And by the way, these are probably many of the same people that say Donald Trump is a very honest person, but that's another story. I'm going to open up the phone lines right now at 702-221-7283. And again, that number, 702-221-7283. If you think that I'm a liar or Chris is lying, don't just call into the show and call us a liar. Be ready. Tell us what specifically we're lying about. What misinformation are we putting out there? By the way, I also say this because, again, I'm going to speak slowly and distinctly to the people out there that claim Fauci intentionally lied so that you can maybe understand. When somebody says something without all the data and something is maybe not true and they say something that turns out not to be true, and then a couple months later studies are provided and then they change their tune on something, I'm just speaking in general terms, that's not an intentional lie. At the time, they don't have certain information, and then when they get the information, they change their medical opinions. That's not an intentional lie, and I know that might be very hard for some people to understand, so I'm trying to explain it slowly, so hopefully you'll understand it. Here's the number again, 702-221-7283. Well, because some of these people...
they nitpick, right? Brian, let's be honest. Let's put our cards on the table here. The people out there, what do? They nitpick Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, whoever. They said something that might have been incorrect, not a lie, just might have been not accurate or whatever, and then that just blows up their entire expertise, right? That is just a situation in which, now we can't even listen to him. No, we shouldn't even listen to him in the first place. He's compromised. He's bought and paid for. He's a criminal. There's people out there, Brian, that want Dr. Fauci
well, again, let me be clear on this. The people that you're talking about that want Dr. Fauci arrested and think Dr. Fauci is a criminal are the same people that think Donald Trump did nothing wrong with these 4 indictments in a two-tier justice system. So I think you form your own opinions on those people. I'm opening up the phone line, 702-221-7283. Now's the time to call in. Let's start off with Edward. Edward's first. What's going on, Edward?
Hey, Brian. Hey, Chris. How y'all doing?
Good, Edward. What's up?
Not much, man. I was just thinking about kind of what y'all were saying, and I hope Miss Biden is okay. I'm praying for her. I really do. I wish well for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah.
On that, absolutely. Republican, Democrat, we can all say, hey, you know what? Best wishes, and pray that people do get better.
Yeah, call me crazy, right? Edward, call me crazy, but even people that I disagree with politically, yes, if you get COVID-19, I'm not a complete jackass and out there thinking that I hope you succumb to this. I mean, come on,
that's
absolutely
terrible.
Feel that way.
It's bad karma. It's bad karma in the making. But you guys were talking about social media and stuff like that, and people giving advice. I would rather trust Dr. Kevorkian than some of these people that are talking about COVID and do this and do this. It's so crazy how this is just spread like wildfire again.
Yeah. Well, again, people out there with zero medical experience, even people that used to listen to my prior show, boy, am I glad I'm not doing that show anymore with the people that I had to work with every day. But again, people with no medical information that just read stuff off of Twitter from right-wingers out there and they believe it to be true. Let's be very clear on this. There are certain masks that work better than others. There might be several studies out there that might claim that masks don't work, to the 1,000 studies out there that claim that to an extent masks do help people, especially the vulnerable. And it's very frustrating when you have to speak logic to people that are not capable of having a logical conversation. It still rings true to this very day. And all the people out that are saying, I will not comply, they call themselves patriots, and I would call them other words. It's certainly not a patriot. Patriots are people that do wonderful things for this country, like serve our country honorably, firefighters, the first responders. There are many things you can do to be patriotic. Not putting on a mask or not getting a vaccine is certainly not one of them that I would characterize you as being patriotic. In fact, I would say it's the opposite of that in many cases.
And come on, guys, it's not rocket science. If you're feeling sick, listen to your body. It's not rocket science. If you don't feel good, if you're sweating, you're sick, don't go out in public and by some random chance spread it to the next person.
Yep.
Well, I'll add to that too, Edward. It's not just listen to your body. How about go and listen to your medical professional if you have some guy. If you're not feeling well and you need to go see a professional, go see a professional and then listen to them. Again, yes, not rocket science at all.
Yeah, and again, it's hard to. And thank you, by the way, Edward. It's good to hear from you, my friend.
Thanks
For calling in.
And
again, people struggle to listen, Chris. So now I'm going to speak slowly, so maybe they can listen again. I never said you should be forced to get the vaccine. I'm not pushing the vaccine.
It's not a concept.
What I am pushing is speaking to somebody with real medical expertise, like your personal doctor. Why is that so hard for some of you people to understand? I'm not pushing anything. What I am saying is listen to your personal doctor or physician and then make your own decision. I've also said I don't think the vaccines should ever be mandatory. I don't know why that's hard for some of you to understand. Let's get to the next call.
Okay, so but quickly respond to that, Brian, quickly. It's not only did you not say that, that's not a reality in America. It has never been a situation ever in which the vaccine has been required or mandatory in the United States of America. It's been required for certain types of employment, right? You talked about that 10 minutes ago, right? About certain companies requiring. Yes, but that does not mean as an American, the United States government has never required anybody in the United States to get the COVID-19 vaccine.
There are people on social
media
full stop.
Period, full stop.
There are people on social media that are asking why you're yelling.
Yeah, because this is because it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating to deal with a topic like this when people are not focused and they're not based in reality whatsoever.
Yes,
it's just they want to toss their opinion out there like it's fact, and it's very
frustrating for me as well. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Again, 702-221-7283. Agree or disagree? We're taking your calls. Let's go to Carl. Carl is next. What's up, Carl? Carl, are you there?
Oh, yeah. You're just coming through so weak.
I'm
Chris and Brian, I hope you had a good holiday. And in regards to the jab, I like to use that term, you hear people on other stations, I won't go into any names, saying that's going to kill you if you take it. Everybody who takes it dies.
You can name names, Carl. We're not afraid. We like names. You can name names. We're not afraid. You can name them.
What?
We're not afraid of names, my friend.
Carl,
you can name names.
I'm gonna ask. Okay, Carl, I'm gonna ask you a question now. Can you tell me which radio host goes on the air and says if you take the vaccine, it's going to kill you? Who said that?
Yeah, it's the part of the plant that grows underground.
Okay, that the Roots is somebody. The Roots.
Okay, so if Wayne Allen Root said that, I want to remind people that Wayne Allen Root is the same host. That got a cease and desist letter from the Attorney General claiming that he had a pill that cured COVID. And anybody that allows this man to be on the air, you should be ashamed of yourself. So I'm not surprised that Wayne Allen Kook made a statement like that. Again, somebody with zero medical experience who spreads conspiracy theories. That doesn't surprise me one bit. Yeah. Carl, I appreciate the phone call, my friend. I got to get to some other calls. Thank you for the call. Yes. The number to call, by the way, if you want to be a part of the conversation, we're going to take a quick break. That number is 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you want to be a part of the program, we are talking about Dr. Jill Biden, who sadly was diagnosed with COVID. We hope she makes a full recovery. I'm sure there are people out there that are not very nice people that are thinking otherwise, but we hope that she makes a full recovery. And by the way, I would say the same thing about Melania Trump. Even though I'm not a Melania Trump fan, I wouldn't wish her ill will, certainly not when it comes to her health. And I hope she does divorce Donald Trump. Maybe we'll get to that a little bit later as well. 702. When do you think the last time was Melania Trump held hands with Donald Trump? Let me even ask Chris this question. When do you think was the last time Melania was intimate with Donald Trump in any way, shape, or form?
I think we're talking months, maybe even years.
I would say years.
I don't think there's any question.
I
about
think
that.
my answer would be the last time they conceived Barron. I think that's the last time they were physically intimate. I could be wrong on that. Listen, Donald Trump's a really attractive guy. I can only imagine how sexy he looks like with his shirt off.
Sarcasm.
No, I mean,
Sarcasm.
he's a really good-looking guy. I love
Sarcasm.
I'm being very honest. I love his fake hair. I love his fake skin. I love his very manly 215-pound, 6'3" physique.
More sarcasm.
He looks just like Muhammad Ali when Muhammad Ali was in his prime. He was also
They're the exact same dimensions, right? The exact same. Height, weight, everything.
Muhammad Ali in his prime was 6'3", 215. So I would imagine if Donald Trump took his shirt off, he would look exactly like Muhammad Ali with that amazing 18-pack he's got going there and his beautiful golf swing. But anyway,
You do know I'm 6'1", 205, right? You do know that, right?
Oh yeah. I know.
Adonis-esque.
Yeah.
Without
There's
question.
a lot of professional athletes out there that are around 215, 6'3". So don't get me wrong. When I think of the epitome, anybody on the front of Fitness Magazine, the first person I think of is Donald Trump. Superman, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we'll take a quick break. Again, that number to call, 702-221-7283. And again, that number, 702-221-7283. The questions that I am posing to our callers right now, or statements really, if you're calling me a liar or Chris a liar, and you think we've said something that's not true, I'm giving you the platform to call in right now and tell us what we're lying about. Otherwise, don't call us a liar. It's very simple. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to Pushing the Limit, KSHP.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, baby. Forget about it.
Everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits here. I want to tell you guys about my good friends at the Postal Annex. They have a notary signing agent on site daily, no appointment needed, and they offer a full scale of printing services from shipping labels to documents, business cards, banners, photos, and business signage. They're your passport service headquarters. They offer passport photos, and they can renew your adult passports. If you're traveling in a hurry, they can get those passports to you within 7 days or less. Mailbox rentals with a physical street address, and they also receive your packages from Amazon, UPS, FedEx, USPS, and more. Here's the best part. If you're a Pushing the Limits listener, they have an introductory rate of only $39 for a 3-month service. You can't beat it. Give them a call, 702-873-8005. Check them out at 6130 West Flamingo Road. It's the Postal Annex. Tell them I sent you.
Buying or selling a home is a huge life event. It requires guidance from an expert in the industry and community. My name is Blake Wynn. You may recognize my name as my grandfather was the best governor the state of Nevada has ever had. Growing up in Las Vegas, I've come to know this community intricately. Now, I am raising a family here as well, so I understand all the issues impacting our home and quality of life. As the top realtor for the #1 real estate team at Keller Williams, you can have confidence in my experience, knowledge, and track record. When it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, choose a name you can trust, someone who understands the community you call home. Call Blake Wynn today and experience the difference of a trusted expert. 702-540-3311.
Sapphire Pool and Day Club, the world's only topless gentlemen's day club, introduces its 2023 pool season lineup with a bevy of beauties and social media celebrities throughout the summer who will all host alongside hundreds of Sapphire's topless poolside entertainers. Enjoy brunch in the sun with items like frittata-style omelets, stripping chicken, and French kiss toast before washing it down with signature summertime cocktails. Tan lines beware, Go Bear! Ladies are welcome to go topless within the day club for the ultimate party. Guests can purchase portable day bed packages, cabana packages, lounge chairs, and more. The best part though? Pushing the Limits will be broadcasting shows every other Friday throughout the pool season with a ton of surprise celebrity guests. Wow! Reserve your spot now. For more info, visit sapphirepoolLV.com or call 702-869-0003. That's 702-869-0003. See you at Sapphire.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits. I want to tell you guys about Sahara West Urgent Care and Wellness. They're conveniently located on the southwest corner of Sahara and Jones. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. At Sahara West Urgent Care, they'll take care of all your healthcare needs. They offer routine services such as physicals, STD testing, car accident treatment, and work injuries. You name it, they do it. They have on-site x-ray, EKG, ultrasound, and labs. They treat chronic conditions such as asthma, blood pressure, diabetes, and more. They also offer general wellness exams and treatments such as testosterone enhancement and cancer screening. They're located on Sahara, 6125 West Sahara Avenue. Their number is 702-248-0554. And the best part, they accept most major insurances and affordable cash pay prices, office visits starting at just $95. And I'm also a client, so please give them a call, 702-248-0554. All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits. Thank you so much for joining us. Coming up in hour number 2 in studio. I don't know if Chris is nervous because very attractive, very attractive woman coming in studio. She's awesome. She's Miss Juneteenth, Nevada. She's going to be joining us, talking a little bit about her competition nationally coming up and how people could help her out, trying to raise some money for her. She'll be joining us in hour number 2. If you're just joining us, we're talking about Dr. Jill Biden, who now has COVID. Joe Biden does not. Thank goodness for that. And by the way, if you are sick, see how I make this unbelievable segue. Check out Sahara West Urgent Primary Care, located at 8125 West Sahara Avenue. No appointment needed. Great place to get checked out, like if you think you have COVID or not. Give them a call, 702-248-0554. You could also visit them online at saharawesturgentcare.com. I did promise I would open up the phone lines again for people out there, whether you agree or disagree with us, your thoughts on COVID, your thoughts on Dr. Jill Biden, and your thoughts on vaccinations, why you agree or disagree with us. Let's 702-221-7283. Let's go to Rupert. Rupert is next. Hello, Rupert.
Hey, yo, so how much funding you getting from the DNC for spreading this bullshit?
Okay, so first of all, sir, I'm going to hold on. Let me respond. Okay,
Right
so let me respond.
Brutal.
Okay, so first of all, sir, this is a live radio show. I'm happy to take your call,
Brutal.
but you can't swear on the air. That's number one. That's the first mistake you made. Number two, I'm a registered independent. I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. I didn't vote for Barack Obama. I voted for 8 Republicans in the 2022 midterm. I don't work for the DNC. I've never interviewed anybody from the DNC. So you just did 2 things that were wrong there. One that is completely factually inaccurate. So I'll give you a chance now to come back on the air so long as you're respectful and if you don't swear. So would you like to make any point that actually make any sense at all?
Well, yeah, you can say you voted for this and that, but you're pushing DNC talking points.
Okay, so so let's talk about that. I'm happy to have a conversation with you about that. What did I say in this show in the first 30 minutes, in your opinion, that is pushing a Democrat narrative? Go.
Well, we all know COVID ain't nothing but
okay.
flu.
Pot him down.
We all know. We all know.
First
Hey,
of all,
smart
sir.
guy. By the way, this is a Democrat that's co-hosting the show with Brian today. So I am a Democrat, although I have had no discussions with the DNC as of late. So that doesn't really come into play. But we all know. Hey, what do we all know there, smart guy?
Okay, so let me just respond real quickly.
Well, I just responded.
Okay,
too.
yeah. I'm so
Why
first
are
of
all
all,
you lefties so
first of all, hold on, sir. I'm going to keep you on the line. But if you can use proper 3rd grade grammatics,
Yes.
when you say you ain't, that doesn't perceive you as a very intelligent person. Now, I don't know you very well. You very might be a Rhodes Scholar. I don't know. You might have a PhD. But when you talk like that,
I don't think he knows what a
the
Rhodes
first
Scholar
thing,
is,
hold on.
but-
The first thing you did was swear at me. Then you said I'm part of the DNC or something, so that wasn't true. And then your second time you ain't. So I'm going to ask you to be specific again because you still haven't answered my question. And if you could not swear and put it in a proper grammatical sentence that is cohesive and we can understand it, be specific. What have I specifically said that would lead you to believe it's a talking point from the DNC? Go. I'm giving you another chance.
Well, look, you're emotional like a woman. Both. you
Okay,
and
I
your
didn't ask you
co-host
about
said.
emotions. We're asking you to be specific.
No, I know,
I'm now
but
going to
you're
ask you
emotional.
for a
Calm
fourth
down.
time.
Like a
Sir,
woman, eh?
I'm going to pod you down
Calm down,
again.
That might be
lady.
sexist.
Yeah,
That might be sexist.
So first you
Yeah,
swore
well,
on the air.
women are the only ones
Pot
that
him
be
down.
emotional.
First you swore on the air. Then you made a sexist statement.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. I'm sure you have women that are flocking to you.
Line it up, baby.
But
line it up.
now
for this guy.
I'm gonna ask you for a fifth time to be specific on the first thing that you said, that I was spreading a DNC talking point. I'm now asking you for a fifth time. Don't say I'm emotional or a woman. Speak in third grade grammatics if you can. Go ahead. I'm giving you now a sixth opportunity.
Well, I mean, you support the official party of pedophilia.
Okay, pot him down
violence.
again.
Dude, he
Me
keeps saying things that are
okay,
wrong, Brian.
Okay,
What-
first
what
of
is
all,
up- what is
I'm
up with
gonna,
this guy?
I'm gonna, if you could just, I'm gonna
Yeah.
give myself, I'm gonna
Like
explain.
everything he says is wrong.
I'm gonna explain
Everything.
again. I just told you I didn't vote for Obama or Clinton, and I'm a registered independent. I voted for 8 Republicans in the midterms. I'm now asking you for a seventh time. You see, sir, when somebody makes a claim like you're spreading DNC talking points,
Yeah,
the
he's laughing
host-
because he's saying everything's wrong.
when the
He's laughing.
host asks you to be specific, and then your answers are non-answers,
COVID
like
alarmism.
okay, I'm now going to ask you for an eighth time. Let's see if you're capable, sir, because I'm being very patient with you. Don't get me wrong, you sound like a very intelligent person, but now I'm going to ask you for the eighth time. And I want you to listen I'm going to say it very slowly, and hopefully you can understand the question, because I'm not sure you understand. What specifically have I said in the first segment of this show or ever that would lead you to believe that it's a DNC talking point? I'm now asking you for the eighth time, sir.
Well, the COVID alarmism, Jennifer, is kind of over the top there, little lady.
Okay, are you going to answer the question?
Terrible comedy.
Yeah,
Terrible
yeah.
attempt at comedy.
I'm now
my
going to
friend.
ask you
Awful.
for a
Just
ninth.
awful.
I'm now going to ask you for a ninth time.
Well, if
You see,
anybody
sir,
knows about
Absolutely does
terrible
not have
comedy-
a show on the Las Vegas Strip,
Okay.
Brian Shapiro. He
what
does not.
what did I say?
Any
Hold
comedy
on,
chops
Chris. I
whatsoever.
want him to understand. So yeah.
You've done it
So
like
Chris,
8 times.
so
you
Chris, I'm
repeat it again?
going to
Yeah.
do it.
You're going to do it again?
I'm going to do it
Repeat
one
it.
more time, sir. This is your last chance. Yeah, I just want to prove to everybody how intelligent you are.
Dead horse.
Now going to ask for the ninth time. What did I say specifically that would lead you to believe it's a Democrat talking? By the way, it doesn't even have to be about COVID. It could be about anything, but we're specifically talking about COVID. That means you have to repeat something that I said on the show specifically. Does that make sense, sir? Do you understand the question? Or would you like me to repeat it again for the 10th time?
Well, listen, dummy, you're pushing COVID alarmism. talking
And what did
about
I
Joe
say
Biden
that
and
pushes
Joe
COVID
Biden.
alarm? Okay, so I'm okay. Now maybe we're getting somewhere, sir. Maybe we're getting somewhere.
Yeah,
now.
but nobody cares
So
about
what did I
COVID.
say that
you're
would lead you
way
to believe that I'm
behind the
pushing
times,
COVID
son.
alarmism?
Listen, little lady.
Okay, have a
Listen,
nice
little
day,
lady.
sir. I'm gonna.
You're way too patient, Brian Shapiro. Way,
All right, so let me now
way
respond.
too patient.
So now let me
with that
respond.
phone
So now let me respond. Have a nice day.
call.
Now let me
Good
respond.
tune. Like it, Numchuck.
So in that see, there's certain people that are not capable of having conversations, okay? The guy starts off by swearing at me. Then he can't put a verbal grammatical sentence together without speaking non-proper English. He made a statement saying that I'm pushing DNC narratives. I gave him 10 opportunities to be specific.
Yeah.
He made chauvinistic comments about women. Something tells me and leads me to believe that that's the kind of man that would want to see me in a dress because he might get excited. He called me Jennifer. Maybe he's attracted to Jennifers. I don't know. And notice that he couldn't answer my question. When I asked it repeatedly, I said, what have I said on this show that would lead you to believe that I'm spreading a DNC narrative or a Democrat narrative? When you make a statement like that, for example, I called Donald Trump a liar. I start with an actual real lie. I won the election in a landslide. Joe Biden and the Democrats cheated. Proven lie, right? So when I call somebody a liar, I actually have to have reason to back up that opinion that somebody's a liar. That person said I'm an alarmist. He said I'm a COVID alarmist. So when I say you should talk to your personal doctor about COVID and whether you should take the vaccine or not, I'm trying to understand how that's alarming people. When I make a statement that more than 1 million people have died of COVID, that's a fact. That's not an opinion. Take that for what you will. So again, I'm so glad that, what's his name? Rupert?
Rupert,
And
right?
Rupert? Is it Rupert Murdoch? I don't know.
Rupert.
Rupert.
Now, don't get me wrong. Rupert sounded like an extremely intelligent person. He sounds like he's extremely well educated, probably owns, multiple businesses, quality education, really smart guy. Rupert, I appreciate you calling in so much. You proved to be an extreme Rhodes Scholar, and I would rather listen to you and get COVID information from you than somebody with an actual medical degree. Thank you so much for calling in, sir. We really appreciate it.
I gotta say, I'm absolutely it's a mind-boggling to me how patient you were with him. And by patient, I mean you said 10 times, which was 8 times too many, by the way. That you gave him chances.
8 times too many.
8 times. Okay, so 9
Yeah.
times too many. Yeah, I agree with Numchuck. So yes, but that was quite the exchange right there. I don't even know if it was an exchange. Really, it was just more Shapiro clowning this guy, because that was just an awful phone call. And then he tried as just an outrageously terrible attempt at comedy that he broke out as well.
Here's
too.
why I do this.
And
Chris.
then on top of it, sexism on top of it, and adding that onto it.
Yeah.
Talking about how as if men have no capability of being sensitive or actually having feelings. That's not good. Not good, my man. Not a good call. Got to come stronger next time.
Let me be clear, Chris. I'm not, as you know me personally, I'm not an
Yes.
extremely patient person. But there's a reason why I give people so many opportunities. And in a normal conversation off the air, you're right, I probably would have said,
You would have let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason why I do that is to expose people, some people that maybe are not the smartest people in the world. I expose them. 8, 9, 10 times when I ask somebody the same question and they can't answer it, I think you know who won that discussion.
Well,
Or-
yeah, absolutely.
So it's it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
All right, we'll open up the phone lines a little bit more when we come back. Number to call. Rupert, thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate that. It's an honor to get a phone call from someone of such high intelligence. 702-221-7283. Again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. We do have some other news to get to as well.
Quick note from social media. Andrew Mann, friend of the show, chimes in. Great job, Numchuck, with the choice in banjo music in the background. I'm telling you, it did. Look, stereotype's not usually a great thing, but I think when you think about the stereotype of some of the MAGA people out there, I think Rupert there epitomizes pretty much.
What do you think of the chances that guy who called in has a picture of Lauren Boebert in his bedroom?
I think the chances are fairly high.
High.
Only
it's
if
up there.
Lauren Boebert
Yes.
is his sister.
That's true. That's true. What are the chances that he has a MAGA flag on the back of his truck, his pickup truck?
Yeah. And,
what odds
and
would-
judging by the accent, he is definitely a southern part of the United States guy, somewhere, maybe Oklahoma,
Yes.
somewhere in that neighborhood. And
Yeah.
yes.
I think that's quite possible. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. We certainly have more stuff to get to as well. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
KSHP North Las Vegas, 107.1 FM, 1400 AM, K29 68P North Las Vegas, and online at kshp.com.
Hey, everybody, are you
Little
struggling to
Vegas
find a
radio
pizza
show.
place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits here. I want to tell you guys about my good friends at the Postal Annex. They have a notary signing agent on site daily, no appointment needed, and they offer a full scale of printing services from shipping labels to documents, business cards, banners, photos, and business signage. They're your passport service headquarters. They offer passport photos and they can renew your adult passports. If you're traveling in a hurry, they can get those passports to you within 7 days or less. mailbox rentals with a physical street address, and they also receive your packages from Amazon, UPS, FedEx, USPS, and more. Here's the best part. If you're a Pushing the Limits listener, they have an introductory rate of only $39 for a 3-month service. You can't beat it. Give them a call, 702-873-8005. Check them out at 6130 West Flamingo Road. It's the Postal Annex. Tell them I sent you.
Buying or selling a home is a huge life event. It requires guidance from an expert in the industry and community. My name is Blake Wynn. You may recognize my name as my grandfather was the best governor the state of Nevada has ever had. Growing up in Las Vegas, I've come to know this community intricately. Now, I am raising a family here as well, so I understand all the issues impacting our home and quality of life. As the top realtor for the #1 real estate team at Keller Williams, you can have confidence in my experience, knowledge, and track record. When it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, choose a name you can trust, someone who understands the community you call home. Call Blake Wynn today and experience the difference of a trusted expert. 702-540-3311.
Sapphire Pool and Day Club, the world's only topless gentlemen's day club, introduces its 2023 pool season lineup with a bevy of beauties and social media celebrities throughout the summer who will all host alongside hundreds of Sapphire's topless poolside entertainers. Enjoy brunch in the sun with items like frittata-style omelets, stripping chicken, and French kiss toast before washing it down with signature summertime cocktails. 10 lines, beware. Go Bear! Ladies are welcome to go topless within the day club for the ultimate party. Guests can purchase portable day bed packages, cabana packages, lounge chairs, and more. The best part though, Pushing the Limits will be broadcasting shows every other Friday throughout the pool season with a ton of surprise celebrity guests. Wow! Reserve your spot now. For more info, visit sapphirepoolLV.com or call 702-869-0003. That's 702-869-0003. See you at Sapphire.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits. I want to tell you guys about Sahara West Urgent Care and Wellness. They're conveniently located on the southwest corner of Sahara and Jones. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. At Sahara West Urgent Care, they'll take care of all your healthcare needs. They offer routine services such as physicals, STD testing, car accident treatment, and work injuries. You name it, they do it. They have on-site x-ray, EKG, ultrasound, and labs. They treat chronic conditions such as asthma, blood pressure, diabetes, and more. They also offer general wellness exams and treatments such as testosterone enhancement and cancer screening. They're located on Sahara, 6125 West Sahara Avenue. Their number is 702-248-0554. And the best part, they accept most major insurances and affordable cash pay prices, office visits starting at just $95. And I'm also a client, so please give them a call, 702-248-0554. All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits.
Another one of the great tunes right here, Brian. Another great tune.
On a Tuesday, of course, losing the late, great now Jimmy Buffett. Honoring him, of course.
Have you ever had a cheeseburger at Margaritaville, Brian?
I have.
Yeah,
Very good.
quality. By the way, it's a cheeseburger, right? Can't do too much with it. But Margaritaville does it right.
You know who else does it
Quality
right?
Cheeseburger.
You know who else has a good cheeseburger?
Who does it right?
Jackson's Bar and Grill.
Yes, they do.
Located at Flamingo and
What a
Jones.
segue.
Yeah, I'm a professional. I'm a radio professional. And Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Great food, great atmosphere, great gaming promotions. And the food there is so incredible. I had great meatloaf there the other day. Bob, the Meatloaf. One of my favorite movies, by the way. Old school, little old school reference. Check them out, Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Tell them I sent you. We were talking about Dr. Jill Biden, who has COVID. And speaking of politics, the former president, Donald Trump, also known as Cheeto Jesus, went absolutely buck wild crazy, posting more than 30 angry videos railing against his 2020 opponent, Joe Biden. He went after the Department of Justice and just Democrats in general. He even went after Fox News, Special Prosecutor Jack Smith, Rupert Murdoch, not to be confused with Jennifer Rubert, who just called in, and his own attorney general, Bill Barr. Among others, he bragged that his recent interview with Tucker Carlson beat Oprah's interview with Michael Jackson, most watched in history. He also claimed the first Republican primary debate on Fox News was one of the lowest rated ever, if not the lowest, which is, by the way, also not true. After hours of posting the rambling video messages, he paused to wish everyone in Florida dealing with the hurricane well, but then immediately returned to his furious ranting. Unclear if anything in particular prompted the display, though he did promise to post more videos today covering many subjects in many time frames, Chris.
I saw the collage of the messages that were posted on or whatever how he describes it. It is a clear sign of somebody that sees what's on the horizon and what he's about to face from a legal jeopardy standpoint, and the guy's petrified. Let's be straight up about it. He's absolutely petrified of what could go down here. I find it just mind-boggling and absolutely ludicrous that we're still talking about this individual as a presidential candidate in any way, shape, or form. And it just absolutely mesmerizes me, and not in a good way, when I see that the guy's still far and away the Republican choice for the nominee in 2024. It's unbelievable to me. It's just a clear indication of the electorate in our country right now is bananas. And I'm going to be interested, is the word I'll use, to see exactly how this all shakes out from a politics standpoint and also from a legal standpoint for Trump, because it looks really bad. The guy's just lashing out now, and it's rather pathetic at this point.
Well, I mean, even Vivek Ramaswamy, when he came on last week, he talked about Hunter Biden's laptop, and he talked about issues that have not been proven, no indictments, no real evidence that Joe Biden committed any crimes. Hunter Biden is a private citizen, whether he's the son of the president or not. It's not illegal to use your father's name to make money. Just ask Donald Trump's family about that. And until there are laws that are put in place, it's not illegal. The Republicans have not found a there. They have not released any direct evidence that Joe Biden committed any crimes. And until they do, I'm not even going to talk about it. But it is interesting because when a guy like Vivek Ramaswamy brings up Hunter Biden's laptop, for example, and by the way, nothing has been proven to lead anybody to believe that Joe Biden committed a crime,
right,
or anything on that laptop would lead you to believe that. But those same people want to pardon Donald Trump. Vivek Ramaswamy said that he wants to pardon Donald Trump. If, in fact, Donald Trump did, and the indictment shows evidence, and I think they're going to prove it in a court of law, that Donald Trump was at the forefront of a fake electorate scheme. This isn't about just saying or contesting an election. That's what Republicans would lead you to believe. You're allowed to contest an election. Hillary Clinton did the same thing. This isn't about, by the way, contesting isn't saying that the Democrats cheated and Joe Biden cheated and I won in a landslide. That's not contesting. That's something called a lie. And you have to repeat it to these people over and over again, that there's no evidence and they had their day in court. Donald Trump is innocent until proven guilty. He'll have an opportunity to defend himself, but I think he's going to be a convicted felon. I think the first case in Manhattan is probably the most weak, and he still might be convicted of some charges there as well. I think Jack Smith has a very serious case, and we'll see what takes place in the Georgia case. But there are certain people out there that want to talk about Hunter Biden's laptop, the Jim Jordans of the world, for example, the Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boeberts, Marjorie Taylor Greens. Those are the people with zero evidence. And by the way, folks, this happened years ago. Do we remember Benghazi when sadly 4 people lost their lives, and basically every Republican out there said, calling Hillary Clinton a murderer? Lock her up, lock her up. And then we had something called an investigation led by Republicans. 8 investigations. Hillary Clinton testified under oath. And in those 8 investigations led by Republicans, they found nothing. Mark my words, that is what is going to happen here. Because if there was a there, and Joe Biden broke the law, we certainly would have found out about it by now. During these 4 indictments, we would have found out about it by now. It's not a 2-tier justice system. And if you don't believe me, Jack Smith is the guy who also prosecuted Democrats. So your theory of a 2-tier justice system is bogus, and it is nonsense. The number to call, 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283.
Well, let me respond to that, because the idea and the perception that Donald Trump's not going to face any legal jeopardy as far as being convicted on any of these counts of the 90 plus counts that he's facing right now is completely absurd. And this isn't Chris Wynn's opinion. This isn't Brian Shapiro's opinion. This is the opinion of legal experts out there that are chiming in on all of these cases. You just talked about how you think, well, it's the weakest case in New York, of course, with the with the situation with Stormy Daniels, and I would agree with that. But the idea that Donald Trump's going to get off scot-free on all these charges is beyond ridiculous. It's crazy. Yeah. So you obviously you had Vivek Ramaswamy on the show last week. He had a couple of things that he said, a number of things he said that were kind of preposterous. But one of those things that he said, that you just referred to, of course, is that the justice system is somehow rigged, and that it's basically the Biden administration and Democrats prosecuting Donald Trump and all of his minions, right? And it's all politically motivated. Absolute, utter nonsense, all right? And the reason why it's nonsense is because these charges are legitimate. It's an indictment, and indictment of a ham sandwich we're well past that, people. Okay, we're well past that. We're at the stage now where he's about to face trial, where he's about to go have to face the music on these charges. So it's not about indictment anymore. And also, okay, the reason why I say it's complete nonsense that the Justice Department, and by the way, I'm including, when we're trickling down, we're talking about Fani Willis, and we're talking about Jack Smith, we're talking about all these entities, right? The reason why it's not political is because the Republicans didn't do it either under the Trump administration, right? As much of an issue as you, Brian Shapiro, and myself had with the likes of Bill Barr and Jeff Sessions and, Matthew Whitaker, who was the acting Attorney General of the United States, as much as we had issues with them politically, right? And as much as they had kid gloves when it came to the President of the United States, Donald Trump. Republicans were not. No, hear me. No, let me finish. The Republicans were not going after Democrats. They were not making up charges on Democrats back between 2016 and 2020 to charge Democrats with, i.e., the Justice Department wasn't political in that way where they were taking those steps. So that's not what's happening now either. It wasn't happening then, and it's not happening now, in which there are Democrats out there making decisions regarding the Justice Department, who they should indict and who they should charge.
Okay, so somebody on social media just said, talking about Joe Biden and speaking to me, just said that's why you want him to run again. Again, let me speak slowly and distinctly for people that don't know how to listen. As I've said for the last 2 years, I don't want Joe Biden to run again. So again, people say things that I've never said or that I don't believe in, and that's just par for the course for people.
Well, no, it's not so that you don't believe in. It's something that you never said. You never said that.
702-221-7283. And, yeah, right. And again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283 is the number to call. And we had somebody that was on the line that I guess there's a guy named Fred who wanted to debate me, and then all of a sudden he cowards, and then he hangs up the phone. Maybe he just didn't like your rant, Chris. I don't know.
Well, I did not like my rant. My rant was 100% factually accurate and true. I don't know. The rant was solid. So, yeah. I mean, look, this is, again, so Vivek Ramaswamy came on your show and started talking about that. Then he started talking, too, about the Donald Trump and pardoning him. Let me be very clear, Brian Shapiro. All right? Vivek Ramaswamy is not running to be president of the United States. He's never going to be president. He's not going to be president. What he's running for is to be more popular, is to get more attention, because he's going to have a podcast, he's going to have a radio show, he's going to have a TV show. He's just trying to boost his own profile. That's all he's doing. That's the only thing that Vivek Ramaswamy is doing. And that's my personal opinion. But let's see if my personal opinion ends up being true.
Again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the show is 702-221-7283. Donald Trump went a little crazy on his Truth Social, as he always does. He put out like 30 videos attacking the Biden administration. Again, it's par for the course. People on the right that are defending Donald Trump, if you're a huge MAGA supporter, you're going to defend him no matter what. As I said, he could sodomize a child in the middle of the street, and there are probably certain MAGA supporters that would probably still support Donald Trump. There's always going to be that group of people, right? You can't speak to those people. They're cult leaders. They're cult members. That's what they are. And when people say it's not a cult, do you see malarkey flags on the back of pickup trucks? When Joe Biden goes to say Maui, does he toss out malarkey hats and Joe Biden 2024 hats? Is he throwing out toilet paper like Tom Brady or paper towels or whatever it was that Trump was doing? No, of course not. When Joe Biden goes to these places, it's not a campaign rally for Joe Biden. He shows empathy. He speaks with the people that are suffering. And while he may not be perfect, and he's not, and I don't want him to run again in 2024, again, for the people out there that want to misstate and mischaracterize my opinions of what I say on this show because they don't know how to pay attention, all they do is listen to Newsmax to get their news information. Joe Biden is a man that does have empathy. I think he's a decent human being. He's certainly far from perfect. His wife actually has a degree in the medical field, while Melania Trump only accomplishment in office was building tennis courts. So, I'll take Dr. Jill Biden over Melania Trump as first lady. I'll take Michelle Obama over Melania Trump as first lady. And you're damn right, if it's Joe Biden versus Donald Trump, I will, even though I don't want Joe Biden to run, I will take Joe Biden over Donald Trump. I will take Joe Biden over Ron DeSantis. And there are a few Republicans out there that are running for president that I would consider voting for them over Joe Biden. But I'm not going to have any MAGAs out there that I would ever vote for. And that could be for a mayor, an assembly person, a president, you name it. I wouldn't vote for any of them because they don't live in reality. Some of these people part of a fake electorate scheme. I'm not going to vote for those people that want to overthrow our democracy. I would never do so. I have criticisms for plenty of Democrats that are in office as well, including the Squad and others. But I will take Joe Biden over Donald Trump. I will take Joe Biden over what I believe will be a convicted felon, and we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But Donald Trump is facing 91 felony counts, and if you're one of those people that thinks he's going to get off on all of them, boy, I'll tell you, you're not living in reality. Again, 702-221-7283 if you do want to be a part of the program. Again, that number. Now's the time to do so. I got Chris Wynn joining me in studio, and that number, 702-221-7283 is the number to call.
And one more aspect about this, Brian, you just kind of brought it up, right? The idea of the Republican Party, it used to be a party of law and order, right? They used to have respect for law enforcement. They used to have respect for things like the FBI, right? Now they want to tear the FBI down. Now they feel like they feel like all law enforcement agencies in the United States are against them now. They really do feel that way. And it's disheartening to see this come about, in which you have a party that used to stand for something, and now, and that's not just the only aspect. There's a lot of things that have changed, right, Brian, about the Republican Party when it comes to a lot of their values and a lot of what they stand for. It's just different now.
It is interesting.
But that stands out when you talk about the situation regarding the Justice Department and how they feel about it, regarding the prosecution essentially of Donald Trump, trying to turn it into like it's a bunch of Democrats trying to prosecute him. It's a complete flip as to what the Republican Party used to stand for.
It is interesting that the people out there that listen to MAGA TV, it could be Newsmax, which is anything but news. Maybe they watch Fox News. I don't know.
That right-wing channel.
Yeah, the people that watch that sort of stuff, when they hear a difference of opinion or actual facts and logic, they say, "Oh, you must be getting paid by the Democrat Party." It's an absolute joke. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Patrick. Hi, Patrick.
What's up, Patrick?
What up, Brian? How you guys doing, man?
Good. What's on your mind, Patrick?
Well, your guest there talking about. Sounds like he thinks the right has changed in their values. I was kind of wondering what examples he was talking about, because it sure seems that the left has moved way further left and the right has moved to the right.
Okay,
the right's still pretty consistent.
Yeah, I can respond. Let me clarify. All right, I didn't say the right changed their values. I said the Republican Party has changed as far as their vision and their values. Yes, I do believe that. And look, this is not just my opinion. You can just make a general observation, right, of all things Republican Party and what the Republican Party has, stood up against and stood for, really, in recent years. And by recent years, I'm talking about the last 5 years. It's just a different party than it was back in the 1980s, 90s, and early 2000s. It's very different as far as the party.
You think that's,
right? No, look.
That's a bad
thing?
To
your point. People that are on the right wingers. Okay, people don't change. People are going to be the same, right? We're right wingers, lefties like me. We're the same. I'm not going to change. And by the way, this whole idea that people change when they're in their 60s and 70s, like Donald Trump, and now all of a sudden he's some far right Republican is again BS and nonsense.
Let me add something else
Yeah,
to what
but
Chris,
it's not.
let me
But,
just
but
add
I
something
wanted
else.
to let me clear it up. Let me clarify though. I wasn't talking about the Republican Party. I wasn't talking about all people on the right. I was talking about the Republican Party and how they've changed.
Okay. Well, it seems to me that would be a good thing. I think both parties need to be reamped, and I think both parties need to be gutted and rebuilt to fit the values of the voters that are voting for them. Because it appears to me the Democrat voters are not in line with most of the Democrat establishment politicians, just like a lot of the Republicans want to get rid of the Mitch McConnells, the Lindsey Grahams, and the establishment. So I think both parties would do a service to destroy the parties as we know them
So
and
Patrick,
start
let
a
me
new
just
party.
let me just respond, Patrick, real quickly. I respectfully disagree with you. Here's
me too.
why.
Yeah.
When it comes to the abortion issue, more than 6 out of 10 Americans believe in a woman's right to choose, Republicans and
Okay,
Democrats.
start with that then. Okay, but now the Democrats want to do it up until birth, and I think most Americans.
No, we don't. No, that's not
true.
true. What you
Let
just
me-
said is
let
not
me-
true.
Okay, so
What
let
you
me,
said is not
let me
true.
just. Okay,
Yeah.
Patrick.
That's not
Chris
true.
is correct.
Well, you're laughing, but it's not true.
Chris,
Y'all defend that issue. all
No,
the time,
I'm not
so it is
defending
true.
anything.
Y'all
What you
defend
just
down.
said is not true.
abortions
I'm a
up until
Democrat,
birth.
I know
Brian.
that.
I'm the Democrat
I know
here.
that.
So what you just said is not true.
Okay.
We are not on board with. Brian's talked about this on the show a lot of times too. By the way, this idea that we celebrate abortion in some way and that we want them.
I didn't
to
say.
have
I
abortion.
never said you
Okay,
celebrate
so what you
abortion.
said is right, but what you said is a lie. It's not true.
Okay,
What you
so-
said is not true.
Okay, so let me just give me more than 5 seconds.
So wait, legislation hasn't been
Patrick,
presented to
Patrick.
allow for abortion up until birth?
Patrick,
No.
'Cause it
Patrick,
has.
what you're saying is not factually accurate. I'm just going to say it, okay? Right now, the majority of Democrats do not believe in abortion right up to birth. In fact, the majority of this country, including Democrats and Republicans, and Nikki Haley was right, they do not believe in late-term abortion. So what you're saying is not true. Now, I was also going to bring up gun control. Most Americans in this country, Republican and Democrat, believe that we actually need to do more when it comes to gun control. The overwhelming amount of Republicans are not willing to do so. Now, you can disagree with Democrats and their solutions, but they're talking about that. Democrats and Barack Obama created Obamacare. A lot of Republicans want to complain about Obamacare, but they have no replacement plan for Obamacare. So I respectfully disagree with you. I have a lot of Reagan Republicans that are friends of mine. They don't speak to people on the far right today. I think for the most part, if you asked me, Patrick, what do Democrats represent today? The same thing they represented 20, 30 years ago. Equality, healthcare, government programs to help a woman raise a child, government programs to help people that are poor. If you ask me what Republicans represent today, attacking drag queens, attacking the LGBT community, giving people the rights to have more guns, not less guns, doing nothing about gun control. I mean, that's the Republican
There's no such
platform
thing.
today, and it's extreme.
There's nothing extreme about gun rights and allowing people to have a right to self-defense.
There's
There's
not one
nothing
Democrat.
radical
There's
about
not
that.
Patrick. There's not one Democrat that has said an American should not have the right to defend themselves with a gun. So that is a right-wing talking point. Democrats don't.
But you want to take away the AR-15, and that's the most common gun held by.
And why
Americans.
is it the
It's
most common gun? You think you need an AR-15 to defend yourself? Why are AR-15s used in these mass shootings where more than 10 people are dying? Do you think that's just
AR-15 is not the most common gun anyway. Handguns, different types of handguns are the most common guns in America.
It's the most common rifle purchase today. It's the most common rifle purchase today, guy. So yes, it is the most common.
Why do you think
rifle
AR-15s are
Okay, so
used
rifle-
in these
yeah,
mass
it's not
shootings where more than
guns.
10 people die?
Not all
Why
guns.
is the choice of a gun an AR-15 then?
David, Brian, we've discussed this. 78% of all mass shootings are done with handguns.
I'm not
and
talking
not
about
rifles.
mass
But you don't
shootings
seem
where
to-
2 or 3 people. You're not listening to my language, so I'll repeat it again. In shootings where more than 10 people die, the most common
You
gun
know
that
what
is
he's talking
used
about, the
is an
high-profile ones where a lot of people
Hey,
are getting
hey,
killed. You know
Brian,
what he's talking about.
Brian,
Yeah.
Brian, it's still the most common gun used in
And
mass
again,
shootings.
with gun,
over
where
10.
shootings
It's
where
still
more than 10
pistols.
people die, I'll repeat myself again. The most common
It's
gun
still
used is an
pistols.
AR-15. It's not Democrats that want to get rid of all your guns, Patrick. I appreciate the phone call, Patrick. I got to get to.
Understand that handguns are used in a lot of shooting because there's more. There's more. More Americans
So,
have more
Patrick-
handguns than they
so,
have
Patrick-
than they have rifles.
So
okay?
Patrick, as a
Yeah.
whole, I disagree with your characterization that both
Well,
parties, both parties. I disagree.
Ramaswamy was right in his response to your answer or your question about what you talk about gun violence. He wanted to talk about violent crime and criminals and talk about
And most
the
violent
issue at
crimes in this
hand.
country are committed with guns. but you don't want to talk about that. You don't want to do anything about it. And I disagree with you, and I disagree with Vivek Ramaswamy, who doesn't think that 140 guns per 100 people in this country, and there's any correlation at all between that and why we have so much gun violence in this country. I disagree with you, and I disagree with Vivek Ramaswamy, who's trying to get votes.
Hey, you don't have to be upset about it. You don't have to be angry about it.
It's not called upset and angry. It's called something called passion. You should try it sometime. Thank you for the call, Patrick. I appreciate it.
Look,
There's nothing wrong
it's a radio
with
show, right, Brian? We're gonna be passionate. We're gonna be emotional when it comes to issues like this because it matters. All right.
And you know what? Let me just say one more thing before we go to break, Patrick. Let me tell you what gets me angry. Innocent people dying in this country. Our kids being plowed by guns and killed in this country, and nobody doing anything around it. And people like you, who put your hands up in the air and don't want to do anything about all the gun violence in this country. Yes, I am angry. I'm angry that after a school shooting, like the one in Connecticut, when innocent 8 and 9-year-old kids are being killed, and you support the politicians that say maybe we just need to harden our schools, or, anyway, let's take another call, and then we got to go to break. Let's go to Fred. Fred is next on Pushing the Limits. Hello, Fred.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Oh, how are y'all?
I'm good, Fred. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Oh, first of all, y'all need to quit screaming. I mean, it's kind of hard to enjoy your show when...
Okay, so Fred, I appreciate that constructive criticism. I'm sure you have tons of experience in the radio business. I'm going to speak very quiet and slowly for you, and I'm going to listen to you, Fred. Fred, thank you so much for calling into the show. We really appreciate it. What's on your mind today?
You don't have to be a smart ass about it. I was just saying.
I'd like to get to the point.
Your partner over there screaming so loud.
So we get, hey, Fred,
wait,
we get it. We get it. You don't like us
pot
being loud.
Pot it down.
But what
Chris,
do you have to say?
stop
What do you have to say?
Hey, Fred.
Yeah.
Hold on. Pot him down.
Basically everything.
Pot him down. Hey, Fred. Thanks for calling into the show. We're up against a break, so I need you to get to the point. What's on your mind?
It's the SNL
It's
skit.
outlawing drugs.
Fred, can you
nobody
please
does
get to the
drugs
point?
anymore.
What did you like to talk about? Please get to the point.
Well, we can talk about Trump.
Well, let's do that, sir.
You know we like to talk about him. Yeah.
What about him?
Yeah, you do. You've been talking about him for a long time.
Yes,
He hadn't been president
Sir, do you have a
over
question or a
3
comment?
years. A little bit of both.
Okay, I'd love for you to get to it.
I don't think you're educated enough to even have a discussion.
Okay, well,
Wait,
I'm waiting.
Come on, man.
Chris, hold on.
Come
Chris.
on, man.
Fred, what would you
give
like?
Us something, give us something we can banter about.
Okay, and then he hung up the phone.
Did he hang up?
Fred, thank you so much for
The
calling
banjo
in.
music back on, Brian.
Hey,
You have the
Fred.
headphones off, so you can't hear it.
Hey,
Great
Fred.
banjo music.
Hey, Fred, thank you
Thanks,
so
dude.
much for calling in. We appreciate
No, he's still there. Is he still there? He's still there, right?
No,
Is that you, Fred?
He hung up. Did he hang up? Did Fred hang up?
Yeah.
All right.
I want to talk about Trump.
We got to get to break. All right,
You guys talk about him a lot. We talk about him a lot because he's the
Should I
leading
should I
candidate
give Patrick
for the
one more
Republican
chance, or should we
nomination
just
in
go to break?
2024.
Well, should we
right?
give Patrick another chance?
2024.
What do you
people.
think? Should we give Patrick another chance, or should we let Chris go on another tangent? What do you think we should do?
Tangent.
Should we give Patrick one more chance? Is it the same Patrick? Patrick, I'll give you 15 seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah, gun-related deaths. I love data, man. I'm
Okay,
all
so
about
now
data.
you're going to give out gun-related deaths, which we've already been through, but I specifically
No, hey,
talking
I'm
about
not
deaths
done.
where more than 10 people die. You don't listen to me. We're going back in circles
You
here.
did.
I appreciate the fact that you have access to the internet and you're able to do a Google search. That makes you a very intelligent person. Is there anything else you'd like to bring up?
The majority of gun-related deaths are suicide.
The majority of gun-related deaths is not what I talked about. I talked about deaths. I'm now repeating myself. Notice I have to repeat myself
Mass
50
shootings, right?
times.
You're talking about mass
I'm talking
shootings.
about mass shootings when we have more than 10 people that die. Thank you, Patrick, for paying attention to my words. I really appreciate that. Thank you, MAGA Nation, once again proving how intelligent all of you are. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be joined by Miss Juneteenth, Nevada, 2023. She's going to be joining us in studio. Chris, thank you so much for being here as always.
Absolutely.
Always a pleasure.
Good
to have
times.
fun. Yes, always fun. Me and Chris always get a little red in the face when some of these people come
Fired
in.
up as all
Take a
get
quick
out.
break. Be back right after this. It's Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you could be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Everybody, Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits here. I want to tell you guys about my good friends at the Postal Annex. They have a notary signing agent on site daily, no appointment needed, and they offer a full scale of printing services from shipping labels to documents, business cards, banners, photos, and business signage. They're your passport service headquarters. They offer passport photos, and they can renew your adult passports. If you're traveling in a hurry, they can get those passports to you within 7 days or less. Mailbox rentals with a physical street address, and they also receive your packages from Amazon, UPS, FedEx, USPS, and more. Here's the best part. If you're a Pushing the Limits listener, they have an introductory rate of only $39 for a 3-month service. You can't beat it. Give them a call, 702-873-8005. Check them out at 6130 West Flamingo Road. It's the Postal Annex. Tell them I sent you.
Buying or selling a home is a huge life event. It requires guidance from an expert in the industry and community. My name is Blake Wynn. You may recognize my name as my grandfather was the best governor the state of Nevada's ever had. Growing up in Las Vegas, I've come to know this community intricately. Now, I am raising a family here as well, so I understand all the issues impacting our home and quality of life. As the top realtor for the #1 real estate team at Keller Williams, you can have confidence in my experience, knowledge, and track record. When it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, choose a name you can trust, someone who understands the community you call home. Call Blake Wynn today and experience the difference of a trusted expert. 702-540-3311.
Sapphire Pool and Day Club, the world's only topless gentlemen's day club, introduces its 2023 pool season lineup with a bevy of beauties and social media celebrities throughout the summer who will all host alongside hundreds of Sapphire's topless poolside entertainers. Enjoy brunch in the sun with items like frittata-style omelets, stripping chicken, and French kiss toast before washing it down with signature summertime cocktails. 10 lines, beware. Go Bear! Ladies are welcome to go topless within the day club for the ultimate party. Guests can purchase portable daybed packages, cabana packages, lounge chairs, and more. The best part though? Pushing the Limits will be broadcasting shows every other Friday throughout the pool season with a ton of surprise celebrity guests. Wow! Reserve your spot now. For more info, visit sapphirepool.lv.com or call 702-869-0003. That's 702-869-0003. See you at Sapphire.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits. I want to tell you guys about Sahara West Urgent Care and Wellness. They're conveniently located on the southwest corner of Sahara and Jones. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. At Sahara West Urgent Care, they'll take care of all your healthcare needs. They offer routine services such as physicals, STD testing, car accident treatment, and work injuries. You name it, they do it. They have on-site X-ray, EKG, ultrasound, and labs. They treat chronic conditions such as asthma, blood pressure, diabetes, and more. They also offer general wellness exams and treatments such as testosterone enhancement and cancer screening. They're located on Sahara, 6125 West Sahara Avenue. Their number is 702-248-0554. And the best part, they accept most major insurances and affordable cash pay prices, office visits starting at just $95. And I'm also a client, so please give them a call, 702-248-0554.
At the Bagel Cafe, the recipe is simple, good food, and generous portions. Family owned and operated since 1996, the Bagel Cafe is a unique restaurant where you can get anything your appetite desires. From a bagel and a smear to piled high corned beef on homemade rye, fresh fruit platters and salads, or creamy New York cheesecake. Check them out at thebagelcafelv.com. The Bagel Cafe, where there's something delicious for everyone.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. As I mentioned, later on this week, we're expected to get Chris Christie on the show. And I want to tell you guys about my good friend Blake Wim over at the Keller Williams Group. If you're thinking of buying or selling a home, no better person than Blake. He's lived here his entire life, with his family. And the former governor of the great state of Nevada is his grandfather, Kenny Wim. Thinking of buying or selling a home, he did it for my family. He'll do it for you. Give him a call at 702-540-3311. Again, that number is 702-540-3311. All right, we're going to switch topics here and kind of calm the levels of the show down a little bit in my blood pressure, which is way too high with some of these callers, but that's okay. So joining us in studio now, it's always a pleasure to have these beautiful ladies who win these pageants. And this lady here is no exception. Her name is Eddie Niel, and she is Miss Juneteenth, Nevada, 2023. She's going to be competing in the Nationals in New Orleans in October. And she also joins us in studio by somebody who has sponsored her, and my friend who's running for Senator, Rhonda Kennedy, both joining me in studio. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. And by the way, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So Rhonda, let me start with Rhonda. Rhonda, why did you decide to get involved and support this lovely young lady?
Well, I think it's very important that young people actually know the significance behind Juneteenth, and to have someone that actually represents, young people and educating, because it's not just a beauty pageant. It's actually they have to do a dissertation. They have to talk about different aspects of Juneteenth and what it means. So yeah.
That's awesome. So Eddie, I have to ask you the political question to start. There are some people, Republicans, some Republicans that want to get rid of Juneteenth. They want to get rid of history. As someone who's representing this state as Miss Juneteenth in Nevada, what would you say to those people?
I feel like it's very, very important, especially as a youth advocate. Being 18 years old, I feel like it's very important for us to know our history so that we don't repeat our mistakes. It's very important that we learn from our mistakes, learn what Juneteenth is, learn what other holidays are, learn what the history is behind Juneteenth and the history behind our country in order for us not to make those mistakes again.
I couldn't agree with you more. I've said very similar things on this show all the time. And what do you make in general of people out there that want to, it's almost like some people want to wipe out the history books. They don't want to talk about slavery. They don't want to talk about some of the horrible atrocities that have happened in this country. And I don't believe teachers, when they talk about these topics, they want to paint the picture that America's racist or everybody's racist. Yes, there is racism. Yes, there still exists racism. Yes, we've come a long way, but I don't think there's anything wrong with sharing some history, right? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree. I feel like it's very, very important for us to know our history. Like I said, especially as youth, a lot of us, we don't read books anymore. We don't study as much anymore. And also our ancestors or our elders in our community don't pass down those information that I feel like is very, very critical and for us to move forward within our communities.
Have you had anybody, since you are Miss Juneteenth, have you had anybody talk to you on social media or come up to you and say they don't believe in what you're doing or they don't believe in this thing?
Yes, I've actually had a couple of like DMs or comments on my post like Juneteenth is not real or this is fake or...
Well, how do you deal with that? I'm sorry, as a black woman, because I get, as a very white man, I get very angry when people make statements. I can't even imagine how that would make both of you feel, I would imagine, when somebody says something ignorant like that.
At a young age, I was taught discernment by my mom, understanding who's a friend and understanding who's not a friend. And just seeing those, it kind of gives me that motivation, like what I'm doing is right. So
this might be a difficult, I'll ask both of you this. When somebody makes a statement like that to you that, this isn't real, like, or something along those lines, do you think that's just blatant racism? Because I think racism is ignorance. Like, yes, there's some hatred elements to it as well, but let's be honest, it doesn't matter whether if you're a bigot, when you're against the LGBT community or you're against black people or religion, whatever the case may be. I think it's hatred and ignorance. Would you consider it to be racism when somebody talks to you like that?
I feel like the best thing to do is ignore it. not give that comment, not give that person any more power, any more ignite in their fire or whatever made them say those negative. I feel like in general, the best thing to do is just to ignore that.
Boy, that's really hard for me to do.
I think that it's more ignorance of not knowing, the real history behind Juneteenth. And also, when people make comments like that, I don't get angry. I take the opportunity to actually educate them, because maybe no one took the time to actually educate them on what Juneteenth and the history behind it. So I take the time to educate them, and they can take that information and still be ignorant, or can't claim ignorance anymore at
But
that
Rhonda,
point.
and I applaud you for doing that. I wish more people would do that. When some Republicans, because let's be honest, this is coming from the right, not you. It's not coming from the left. It seems like most Democrats I talk to, all of them, they want people to be educated on this issue. If a Republican comes to you and says, you shouldn't be doing that, you're teaching people hatred, you're telling people that America's bad, 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 and racist, what would be your response to them?
No, I'm telling people that this is history.
Right.
And Juneteenth should be celebrated. It's a day that all slaves knew that they were free, because there was a time where there was, even after the Civil War ended and slavery ended, that there were still people who didn't know that slavery had ended and were still slaves. And so that's the history behind it, and we celebrate that because that's our ancestors. I'm a direct descendant of slaves.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's on both sides. I know it's Democrat, Republican, but I think it's on both sides, and both sides need to be educated, because if Democrats are so for Juneteenth, then let's put more effort into actually doing things and educating and helping, African American women like you're doing here today. I really appreciate you having us on, Brian, because this is very important, because this is our future.
Yeah.
And we need to spread that message, and a positive role model, not these stereotypes.
Absolutely, I agree. So Eddie, let me ask you this, and it'll involve Kanye West for a moment. You're 18 years old, but obviously you know who Kanye West is, and Kanye is somebody that maybe, in my personal opinion, doesn't represent the black community very well. I mean, he said some positive things about slavery, and he made it sound like slavery was a choice, which is obviously absurd. What would you say to somebody like a Kanye West with an enormous platform that says things like that, which I think are very disparaging towards the black community?
I would say that mental health is really important. It's very important as an individual just to upkeep your mental health, especially if you do have a big platform. You shouldn't say things either you don't mean or could be taken out of context. So that's what I would say to that.
So you think Kanye, and I agree with you, but you're saying he's very mentally deranged and maybe uneducated when it comes to history.
I didn't say mentally deranged, but
Okay,
I
well,
believe
I will.
I do believe everyone in general should keep up their mental health. And I feel like that could be an aspect in anyone in general who says anything out of context.
And I agree. I think a part of it is certainly that, but there are a lot of mentally ill people that would not praise Adolf Hitler. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think I remember he did the interview on TMZ years ago. And in that interview, he was stating the case that he believed that slavery was a choice. And I'm like, what? And it's dangerous because it's not like somebody like me. It's somebody with billions and billions of followers, right? That listen to him, and I think it's very dangerous, to society.
In that case, like Ms. Rhonda said, it's an aspect of education, maybe educating yourself, or those who see those kind of comments or hear that, maybe go and research that's never the case.
Have you met anybody today that was a part of Juneteenth that's still around to talk about it?
Yeah, actually, with the Juneteenth Foundation, with Miss Marquis and Miss D. Miss D, she actually physically herself got Juneteenth as a holiday, as a paid holiday.
That's great.
In Nevada.
That's awesome to do that. And I think a lot of people maybe are not educated on what Juneteenth was. And I think it's incredible that, keep the conversation going. What I try to tell people is that, yes, we've come a long way as a country, but we can still do better. What are some things right now? Let's focus on right now that you would like to see changed, that you think would be beneficial towards minorities, particularly those in the black community.
I feel like something that definitely should change is listening to the youth more. I feel like we're kind of shunned to either be quiet or not speak out, but it's not really speaking out. It's just getting our voice out there and what we see in the community or what we see in our day-to-day life that needs to be changed.
I mean, there are some political candidates out there that believe if you're under the age of 25, you should have to take a civics test. And what I told Vivek Ramaswamy is, who's basically the number 3 Republican out there right now, and I said to him, I said, well, wait a second. There's people in their 50s, their 60s, their 70s that don't have the history or the civics that, say, somebody like you had. I would put you up. You sound like a very smart young lady. I would put you up against a lot of adults that I've had conversations with, even those people that are running for office. You know, what would you say to a candidate out there that says, if you're under 25, you should be forced to take a civics test in order to vote?
I kind of feel like that's a form of discrimination in the sense, again, we need to learn from our mistakes with like civic tests or tests in order to vote. I feel like that kind of silences a group of individuals or a group of people whose voices should be heard when it comes to voting for candidates.
It's
like a poll tax.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
And the schools, and I have to say that would also show how poorly the schools are doing when it comes to civics and learning the Constitution, because, they're not being taught that in school anymore.
Yeah, I agree. If you're just joining us, Miss Juneteenth Nevada 2023, her name is Eddie Diel. She's going to be representing Nevada in the Nationals, which is in October in New Orleans. Great. Been to New Orleans before. I love it. It's awesome. Great food, great people. Really a fun place. Where is it actually going to be held there? Do you know where?
That information, I know my mentor, Miss Marquis, I know I'm like looking.
Probably not Harrah's Casino, because that's where I went. But although you
definitely
never know.
not.
But that's super cool. I look at our society today, and I would imagine the overwhelming majority of Americans are not racist. They love what you're doing, as do I, and the Juneteenth pageant. I think it's great. However, the same people that say, why is there BET? Why isn't there white entertainment television? Are probably the same people that would say, why do you have a Juneteenth pageant? Why does it have to be segregated, to only a certain race or whatever? What would you say to them?
I would say in the lens of it's not segregated, in the sense more of providing an opportunity. And I know you brought up BET. The reason there's like BET or Juneteenth pageants or even Miss Black America, certain pageants like that, it's to bring inclusivity, because the normal platform is usually geared towards the either fair-skinned individuals or people who aren't as melanated as such as myself. So I feel like these opportunities just kind of not an even playing field, but just give girls like me an opportunity to be represented. And I also represent other girls that look like me.
All right, another controversial question. How do you feel about transgenders competing in these types of pageants? Because I did interview the former Miss Nevada, who is a transgender woman. Lovely lady. We had a great conversation. And I thought she was awesome, and I have no problem with it. Now, I do have a problem with transgender women competing against other women in sports. I wouldn't necessarily consider this a sport, but how would you feel competing against a transgender woman, and do you think that's fair, and are you okay with that?
I haven't really thought of something like that.
Unfortunately, a lot of people do. Maybe that's a good thing you haven't thought about it, but that's happening in pageants, right? Our Miss Nevada is transgender, would you be okay with that, or you think that's fair?
I definitely do think that's okay in the regards of pageantry. I do think that's fine.
Yeah, because how about you, Rhonda? How do you feel about that?
Did they get the snip?
Well, I won't be doing the checking on that, but let's go with yes.
Okay, yeah.
Because Miss Nevada, former Miss Nevada, she had the full surgery. So you're okay with that?
I don't know, Brian. That's for the first time you actually got me.
I would argue there were a few other times, but that's okay.
No, that I'm like, or that I don't have an opinion. Like I don't,
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Because here's why I'm okay with it, as Eddie is. Because plastic surgery is allowed. There's no rule in your pageant, I'm sure, that says you can't have any type of plastic surgery, right, to be in the pageant. So I don't have a problem with it. I have a problem with competing against other women on the playing field. I think that's an unfair advantage. I wouldn't necessarily say it's an unfair advantage in a pageant. You see where I'm going with that? So that's why I'm okay with it. And I've been very outspoken, on some other issues. But like Leah Thomas, I think that's a joke. But in this, I wouldn't have a problem with all. So tell me, what is it like to be in front of a crowd, Eddie, And I would imagine you're wearing bathing suits and all that stuff, right? You're wearing everything, and you're showing off the goods, and you're answering questions in front of people. I would imagine that's very, I mean, for me, that would be very nerve wracking. Maybe that's not nerve wracking, but I would imagine you get nervous, right? And it's a little nerve
So with the
wracking.
Miss Juneteenth pageant, it's a bit more conservative in the sense of we don't have a bathing suit competition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have talent. We do have a evening gown.
Mhm.
Certain aspects, just like the bathing suit competition, we
Gotcha.
don't have that.
Gotcha.
But I graduated from Las Vegas Academy of the Performing Arts.
Oh.
So I'm a professional ballet dancer with Nevada Ballet Theater,
Oh,
doing
wow.
the Nutcracker. I've danced all over Las Vegas.
So you're used to doing
Yeah,
this
I'm
sort
kind of
thing.
used to it.
So, yeah,
And
that's
I
cool.
also will be majoring. I'll be attending Clark Atlanta University, and I'll be majoring in broadcasting and radio.
Look at that. My future co-host, or the person that's going to steal my job. No, that's awesome. I think that's great. I think that's awesome. What would be like I know you're only 18. I had no idea what I wanted to do when I was 18, but like, what would be your dream job if you had it? What would it be?
My dream job?
Yeah.
I'm keeping my options open, but I do really feel at home in the newsroom. I really do want to be a news anchor.
Like a reporter,
a political news anchor.
That is super cool. Well, CNN, there's a lot of networks that could use some better political anchors. So I'm sure they could use somebody like you. You'd probably be better right now than Don Lemon. Sorry, that was a bad joke. That was terrible. I know Rhonda agrees with me on that. But well, that's really cool. Congratulations on winning. I want to help you out here, and I want to give as many people as possible the opportunity to help you. So what I want you to do is, I know you have a Cash App that you're accepting donations. Rhonda's obviously done a great job in supporting you, which I think is great. I'd like to see more politicians do that and step up to the plate. But can you give out your social media information, how people can contact you, and if they say to themselves, "Hey, she seems like a great girl representing the state of Nevada. I want to help her." How do they do that?
So my name is Eddie Niel. My Instagram is officially Eddie. And on my Instagram, I have a link in my bio that has everything you need, my Cash App, every platform, it's officially Eddie. My TikTok, my Cash App, everything's officially Eddie.
And Eddie spelled
EDDYE.
I like that. I like that. That's super cool. So what's the goal? Like, how much money are you trying to raise? Is there a goal?
So I've had to reach
5 million?
No, for nationals, it was I had like a certain requirement, ads and everything, and the minimum was 800 for ads and just nationals in general. But I can take in as much donations as my full reign, which will
I
end
like
in
that.
next June.
I like that. I can make another funny joke, and Rhonda will, if you just say that the election was stolen, you might get like hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm sorry, I would never make a joke like that. Sorry, I can't help myself when Rhonda's here. I have to poke the bear a little bit.
And I have to behave because I want
I
Eddie
know
to get
that.
as much. And I'm like, Brian's got me.
Well, first of all, as I said, congratulations. This is super
Thank
cool. I would imagine you would agree it's a great honor to
Mhm.
represent the state of Nevada, especially such an important topic
Mhm.
that I certainly, because it's extremely important, Juneteenth. It's very important. And for you to represent the state of Nevada, I think is super awesome. When is this event in October? When is it?
So I fly out on October 17th, and it'll be that week long. Just
Wow.
interviews, yeah.
You're going to have a
It'll
good
be whole
time.
thing.
What does the winner get? Besides to be crowned the champion, do they get like a scholarship money, or like what's involved here?
Yeah, so I'm a part of the Miss Juneteenth scholarship program, so I'll get a scholarship for school.
How cool is that, man? You're saving your family a lot of money. That's awesome. And I would imagine you're probably, I'm just going to guess, you're somebody that's gotten a lot of A's in high school. Am I wrong? What was your
Of
GPA,
course.
if you mind me asking you?
3.5.
Of course it is. And you got all the extracurriculars, right? You got
Mhm.
everything going for you.
Volunteering
so-
all the time.
So even if you weren't, I'm sure you probably would have gotten a scholarship somewhere anywhere. Well, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
You sound like the perfect person to represent Nevada for Juneteenth. And I also appreciate Rhonda being a part of this as well and supporting you. I think it's awesome. And I wish more people would, and I hopefully they will. We'll put out the information on your Cash App and all that on our
Thank you.
on
Thank
our
you so
social
much.
media. And it's a very, very important topic. And I guess I'm a radio host, so when people say bigoted things, I have to respond. But I think to be a more healthy person and to be more grounded, people should probably take your approach and just don't give them the time of day and ignore them. So I shouldn't bring up Donald Trump's name ever again, I guess. I'm just kidding. No.
He would probably donate.
You think so?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know about that. That's another conversation me and Rhonda are going to have
Yeah,
on
we'll
another
have
show. We'll have that on another show. Congratulations. We wish you the
Thank
best
you.
of luck. If there's anything else we can do for you, please let me know. And I believe you have a very good chance of winning. Without knowing any of the other pageant winners. Seems like you got your head on right, and you're going to be a great radio broadcaster one day. I have no doubt. You should do TV because I have a face for radio. You don't. So that's why I do radio. Anyway, thank you both for being here. Really appreciate both of you. Thank you so much.
we
And
appreciate you.
kick some butt out there. I wish you good luck. Okay.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Anytime. All right. That's a wrap, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Pushing Limits. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. And have a great day, everybody.